All right, in today's video, we're talking about heat runs. Let's go. This is a typical heat run that you will see most of the time, so let's get started. Let's start off by explaining the different type of boots that you will be installing. There are 4 different types of boots. The first one is an angle boot, and then we have an end boot, a straight boot, and a toe kick. Due to the configuration of the hole in the floor, we will be using an angle boot for this heat run. We typically use 2 different size round pipe for our heat runs. The most common is 6-inch, but then we also use an 8-inch as well. The particular heat run that we are showing you today will be an 8-inch. 6 and 8-inch pipe comes in 10-foot lengths, and this particular heat run is over 10 feet, so we will be putting a full piece up and then cutting a piece to tie into the boot. All right, the next step is going to be putting the pipe together. And sometimes putting the pipe together can be tricky. There are some tricks to it that you'll figure out in time, and the guys that you work with can help you with those. But you can see that Jordan's using his hands and his feet to kind of push it together, slapping it to make sure that it does lock. All right, let's get this heat run installed. One of the first things we're going to want to do is cut the support that's going to hold up the pipe up inside the floor joist, and for that support we're going to use an S-cleat. We want to cut this using our reds or greens, and we want to cut it long enough that it fits up nice and snug but yet straight inside the floor joist. Jordan makes this look pretty easy, but oftentimes it's difficult to get the pipe to fit up and over that elbow. So some good practice would be to cut a second S-cleat and install it closer to that elbow up inside the floor joist. That'll help hold it until you can get it screwed and taped. Also, make sure that the pipe seam is always on top. Now that we've got the pipe connected to the elbow, every joint that we put together needs 3 screws as evenly spaced as possible. And then once we have the 3 screws in place, then we will put tape around that joint to seal it. If you'll notice how smooth the tape looks after he gets that applied. That's really critical to make sure that it gets sealed, as well as it looking nice. Okay, now that we have the 10-foot piece of pipe up inside the floor joist attached to the elbow, screwed and taped, we now need to cut a piece of pipe to fill in between the hole in the floor where the angle boot will go and the piece of pipe that we installed. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook our tape measure onto the edge of the hole in the floor, the edge closest to the pipe, and then we're going to get a measurement to the top part of the pipe. That measurement is 31 1/4. So we have our measurement, but we're not going to cut our pipe at that length. We need to subtract a little bit off of that measurement to allow for the boot. Being this heat run is going to require an angle boot, we are going to subtract 3 inches. So that's edge of hole in the floor to edge of the pipe minus 3 inches. So our measurement was 31 1/4. So we're going to cut our pipe at 28 1/4. You're going to want to mark the pipe on both sides. That will make it easier to cut it straight with our tin snips. To cut a straight line, you may want to add a third mark in the middle of the pipe. In the future, you will only need the 2. Flatten out the pipe as Jordan has done here, but please use extreme caution. Sheet metal is very sharp. Once you have a nice clean cut, go ahead and put that piece of pipe together in preparation for the next step. One thing I did not mention is each boot has a different amount that you subtract or add for. An end boot, you'll subtract 1 inch, so that's edge to edge minus 1 inch. For a straight boot, that is a little bit different, and we're not going to cover that measurement right now. But if there's a toe kick, the measurement for that is edge to edge plus a 1/2 inch. All right, now that we've got that piece of pipe cut, let's go ahead and cut another S-cleat for a support. Then we'll take the angle boot and the crimped side of that piece of pipe that we just cut, attach the boot to the pipe, put it up into the floor using the S-cleat as a support, and then we'll attach that pipe to the 10-foot piece of pipe we installed a little bit ago. And now we've got it connected. Let's go upstairs and nail the boot into the floor. Every angle boot, end boot, or straight boot needs 6 nails in it. 1 on each of the short sides and 2 on each side of the longer side. One of the things to make sure is the boot sits flush with the floor. Do not overlap it or beat over any excess with your hammer. It needs to be flush with the top of the floor. All right, now that we've got the boot nailed into the floor, let's head back downstairs and finish it up. Before we put the screws into the joints, we're going to look down the line of the heat run and make sure it's nice and straight and make any adjustments that need to happen. All right, now we're going to put the 3 screws into where the boot meets the pipe, and we're going to tape it, and then we are also going to screw the S-cleat, the support cleat, up into the pipe. Now we'll go back to the end of the 10-foot piece of pipe, put 3 screws, tape it, and screw the S-cleat or support into the round. The reason we screw the support cleat up into the pipe is oftentimes after we leave, another trade will knock it out, and it makes it so that pipe could fall and possibly hurt somebody. All right, now you know how to do a heat run. The most important thing is that it looks good. Quality is number 1. A wise man once told me, if something's worth doing, then do it right. We'll see you next time.